What's Harris going to talk about? No electrical?
Nope.
Yeah, and that's
No electric.
Thank you for signing in, everyone. Tonight's class is on roofing pipes, identification of defects for 1 hour, and then 1 hour plumbing defects. If you have any questions, just call out. It's being recorded, so try not to use any bad words or words that would be offensive to Harris. So Harris Bright, everyone, if you don't know who he is, his name is on the screen there. Harris, tell them about you. What do you know?
I don't know too much about roofing or anything.
Yeah, he's had about 40 years. He's forgotten more than most of you will ever know. That's the issue. I just know a lot about a lot of stuff, but not anything specific. Okay, here we go, everybody. We're going to get started here. Okay, we're on a built-up painted roof. 3-ply roof is the call for this. You can take a look and see the crazing. Harris, how would you write this up?
Well, you got a few problems here. Number one is you're missing you have a dryer vent or some sort of a vent without a cap on it.
Okay, so T.
Then you have well, that looks like a condensate line that's running into a vent pipe. And of course, the roof doesn't look too good because it needs to be recoated.
Okay, now the sewer vent pipe, are you going to write that up and have them change that, or is it okay to run into a sewer vent?
You're not allowed to have anything enter the vent pipe. It's for venting only.
Okay, so but I see that all the time. So is it wrong?
It's definitely wrong.
Okay, so everybody, as we're going along here, besides the roof, if you take a picture and you're showing us defects on your own report and you don't report on them, your report is as faulty as just not saying anything about it. So in this case, T-tops off and sewer vents in. Okay, Harris, what kind of roof we got?
This looks like a rolled roof, and it's been coated.
Okay, now it looks silvery instead of white to me.
Yeah, well, it looks white on this screen, but white is a better covering than silver. Silver only reflects about 40 to 60% of the ultraviolet rays, and white up to 85%.
Okay, so what he's talking about, everybody, is the reflectivity of paint. And so your paint has a reflective standard on it that tells you how much light it reflects. Okay, is there anything wrong with this picture then, Harris?
Well, not really. I don't see any defects.
Okay, we'll skip.
Looks like it.
Here we go to the next one. This is a commercial building. There's your ladder. What's your rule about putting your ladder up, Harris? How high does it have to be above the roof?
Well, at least 2 feet above the roof.
And then do you tie it off?
That's too high. That wind is too high.
Yeah. Do you tie it off, Harris, or just let it sit there?
You're supposed to tie it off on the top and the bottom.
What do you tie it to if it's a low slope roof, though?
Well, low slope roof, you just have to be careful.
Okay. So in this case here, it looks like we have a rolled roof of some sort. We can see the seams, everybody, running here, and we can see it's been a rainy day. Clouds are up, and up on the roof, we have all these pipes running around. And Harris, do you inspect piping that's laying on the roof?
Well, yeah, all the piping has to be at least 1.5 inches off the roof on proper supports.
Yeah. Why 1.5 inches?
That's the size of unistrut. That's the size of a 2x4. So it's universal.
Okay. So the reason we're doing it is because it said it allows you to support it. Okay. Why is this paint peeling like this, Harris?
Well, it looks like water got underneath it was still damp when they put the coating on, and obviously it peeled up and didn't stick to the water.
Okay. So this is a defect. So we're going to need that roof fixed. In the back here, Harris, I see black tar here and black tar along the edges. What is that stuff called?
Well, that's flashing, and it's roof tar, and it goes around a roof jack to make sure it's sealed and the water can get in.
Okay, so I got a roof jack here, and I can't remember what this conduit's called. It's some sort of electrical stuff.
Yeah, that's called seal tight, and it's a type of flexible pipe that's a metal jacket covered with a polychloride or vinyl covering.
Okay, so when we're doing the inspection, we'll look at that, and if that's damaged, we'll write that up on our reports.
Definitely.
Okay, is this roof repairable? Can we paint this and save it?
Yeah, typically a roofer will come along and just knock all those rough edges down and recoat it.
Okay, this roof, it's got ripples in it. Looks like a rolled roof to me. Is this roof repairable, or is this roof at the end of its life?
That roof is at the end of its life. It should be replaced.
Okay, now one of the things in Arizona, you have to state what you see, what you think about it, and then who should look at it. So in this case, should this be a roofer, a qualified roofer?
A qualified roofer should come out, assess the damage, and then give an estimate to replace the roof.
Okay, now you don't have to tell them that it needs to be replaced. It's up to you. You can just say, why don't you go out there and look at the roof, and it looks real bad. There's ripples all over the surface. It's delaminating. Take a look at the drip edge here at the top of the picture. You can see where water's being held on, where the drip edge itself is coming loose. And if we look at the eaves, I'm quite sure there's leakage all along the eaves, so there's probably going to be repairs needed with new plywood or sheathing.
Is that a poor install, or is it just old?
Old.
So when you see those ripples like that, it's old.
Yeah, well, yeah. Plus the fact this could be an install, but it's at least 10 to 15 years old based on product. We don't step on these, but as you walk on the roof and it feels crunchy, it's old. That's it. You're at the end of it. But once you get ripples like this is just a bad install. Okay. This roof is also a hot mop roof. You got ponding water, but for extra credit, I want someone to tell me what this is in the background there. What kind of roof that is.
Looks like asbestos.
Yeah, so that's that lifetime roof, the asbestos shingle roof. And you shouldn't be walking on these. They last forever, but someday they're going to make you tear them off anyway, even though they last forever. So we always make a note of it. I'm not on that roof. I'm on the next building. So I just took a picture of it for this so you could see it. So you're required.
What makes that asbestos? Is it the shape of the shingle?
Yeah, shape of the shingle. It's wired on, and you can see the shape of the shingle, and I'll show you a close-up picture. But it's the shape of the shingle. It's about a 1/4 inch thick.
And they have grooves in it.
And it has grooves in it. It looks like a piece of wood.
Where is that from?
That's in Tucson.
Okay.
That's over off of Tucson Boulevard. It's a bunch of houses over there, duplexes, original roofs. Pretty cool. Okay, here we are on a built-up painted roof. They've replumbed it, and I can see the sewer vent right here sticking up. Here's a vent for probably a water heater in the background with a cap. What's the support requirement for gas lines? How often?
Every 8 feet to 3/4 inch.
Every 8 feet. Just say that, and then you're fine. So every 8 feet and every joint. That's the rule. Okay. So here's a roof jack here at the top. We come down here. Here's a roof jack here. When you take a look at these, something I didn't know, I guess I should have known this earlier, but if you look at your fittings, they all have a little hub on the end of them. When this pipe is shipped as a 21-foot piece, it has a fitting on the end. And Harris, what's wrong with that fitting? Should we use that for gas, or is it just there to protect the threads?
Well, that fitting is there to protect the threads, and that's mainly what it's for. It gives extra support at the edge.
Right. So a lot of times when you see new gas, they'll be using that fitting, and it's not tapered as a gas fitting. So you need to make sure there's a hub here. I'm going to point right down here at the bottom. There has to be a hub on the edges of the fittings. So if you're using a coupling or a union and there's no hub on the end of that, it's wrong. Okay.
You have a close-up of that so we can see that hub?
I do. As we move along to I'll show you that. Take a look right here. Here's a vent, most likely for the stove, and here's the gas line. You can't run more than one appliance off a 1/2 inch gas line. So when you're looking at this and you see new plumbing, if it's a 1/2 inch pipe running like the stove and the water heater, it's most likely wrong. Again, someone will have to do a calculation. There's all these rules about being 10 foot long and a 1/2 inch and blah, blah, blah. but you're just best to write it up and have a plumber come and do the calculations. Oops. Okay, is this roof shot, Harris?
It is gone.
Okay, so here we can see the drip edge is on top of the roof. The new protocols go under the roofing. Before they would nail it on top, put some mesh on, and then try to put black tar on it. You can see here the width on this. It's hard to tell from perspective, but this is probably a 36-inch wide product. The paint is peeling off, and it's old and it's brittle, so needs a roof. Harris, what kind of slope do I need to put shingles on this? More?
Well, typically 1/4 inch to a foot is the minimum slope on any flat roof. That's allowable.
Okay. So if the code has a section called flat roof areas, and then they talk about the roof is not flat, it's a 1/4 inch minimum to allow it to drain. When you say flat roof, they aren't flat. They have to have some slope, otherwise you have ponding water. Okay, this one's a little bit darker, but I wanted you to see here. Here I have ponding water in the back. Here I have an internal roof drain. You need to pop these up, look inside there, and make sure they actually work. But you can see right now that water is ponding probably 2 or 3 inches deep on this roof in this corner. So that's you're going to go inside and take a look. Look down here where this V-shaped arrow is. See this? This arrow was put here from someone else on another inspection, and it's being covered over with dirt, and repairs were never made. I know many of you probably don't mark the roof, but when we find a repair that's needed, we use a magic marker and we put it on there, because we found out when they call us back to do a re-inspection, we have to be able to find the spot where it was repaired, and a lot of times the mark is still there. They haven't repaired it. So, or they say, where is it? So we will use a magic marker. The roofers are spraying them with orange paint or some sort of marker. Okay, here's a distance view, and here's the close-up view. So this is the picture you put on your report. No one can tell what the hell you're looking at. And here's the picture that tells you how bad it is. Okay, so they're having some problems with this roof here, and they cut a hole through the side of the parapet. The water was getting so high that instead of putting in the proper scupper, they cut a hole through the parapet so that when it got that high, it would drain. The problem is, if you draw a line back here, it's as high as the vent in the bathroom. So we wrote this up.
Rick, shouldn't we have 2 drains in that spot?
Yeah, there are. One right here and one right.
Oh, there is one.
Yeah.
Okay, got it. I didn't see that.
Perfect,
Okay.
Jim. Yeah, and what Jim's saying is, if you have a built-up roof, there's got to be 2 drains. You can never have a built-up parapet roof with 1 drain only. There has to be 2 drains. Okay, has to be. If not, then it blocks up. The roof just collapses. So here's your parapet. Now, if you take a look at your parapet, and here's your sewer vent pipe. The sewer vent pipe minimum is 6 inches. If there's snow load, this has to be higher. So if this parapet were taller, this sewer vent would have to be taller also to allow it to vent properly, so you wouldn't have sewer gas smell. Okay, here's your stucco parapet, and these kind of cracks here, I've been reading reports coming in, and I don't know, I'm sort of scared. This is not caulk. This is not a caulk the crack type of thing. This is stucco repair is needed. Stucco needs to be removed and reapplied because it's delaminating across the whole parapet here. This is probably, if we looked at it, if it's here, it's everywhere. You're looking at $2,500, $3,500 in repairs instead of caulking. This part here, Harris, do you know what this is called? This edge between the roof and the stucco?
Well, the drip edge for the counter flashing.
Yeah. Okay. So Z flashing is another name for it. So this roof here on construction comes all the way up over the parapet, everybody, all the way, and then they put this metal here, so it's called a ground, like a plaster ground. It's a stucco weep, like Harris said, and then this stucco comes back down over here. So this roof is supposed to go all the way up over the parapet so that water can't leak through. That's why this type of deterioration, the roof's not leaking. Now, if the roof's been replaced, then this roofing product will end up underneath this lip. And you can reach up under there and feel it, and you can know that the roof's been replaced. So I always ask, what's the age of the house? If the house is 30 years old, it probably doesn't have the same built-up painted roof. So about 20 years is the average life on those. Harris, do you write anything else up about the stucco on this?
Well, it has to be replaced and repaired because it's going to cause leaks into the house.
Right. And then the wire lath that's there, if they're using expanded metal lath or lathing wire, is most likely rotted from past leakage, saturation in the wall. Okay, here's your built-up roof, and here's some sag, here's your ripples, and here's your cricket. Okay, so someone came in and laid in your cricket to make the water drain through the two drains here. Okay, and you can see here there's a little bit of puddling, but no fingers where the tar is too hot. It looks pretty good, and they painted it with a white elastomeric paint, like Harris said. Anything else to add to that, Harris?
No, it looks pretty good otherwise.
Okay, the ripples are a problem for me, so I'll write those up and ask a roofer to come over and determine if the ripples need to be cut out and 3-coursed in. I put this one here for anyone who's from Oregon, so you could feel better about living here in Arizona. But if you find a roof like this, please take a picture, and I'll pay you $1 for your picture if it's in Arizona. But behind you there is the San Juan Islands. Okay, this is the Canadian picture. Hello, Canadians. So this is a rolled roof they use, and their rolled roofing, they get a lot of water, everybody. You cannot nail the seams ever over living space with any of these products. All these products have to be put on with an adhesive or a stick and peel or something that makes them stick. So here you go. You can see it coming here. The valley's made by wrapping it up. Here's your sewer vents. They don't get a lot of snow in this area, so these aren't that tall. We do have attic ventilation, which is a requirement in high humidity areas, and they probably have a vapor barrier. Anything else to add to this one, Harris?
Oh, you can see the ridge vent on the top.
There's a ridge vent here, so they're trying to get rid of some of that built up heat when the sun's out, but you know, it rains a lot there, so there you go.
I've never seen rolled roofing in that direction.
Pardon?
I've never seen rolled roofing put on in that direction. Is there an overlap there?
Yeah, there's an overlap. Usually there's a line drawn on it, and so they match it. If you look at the instruction manual, you can install it either way. That's how they allow it. Now, there is a light here that never turns off. It runs all night long. Have any of you ever made a statement about that light? It used to be sodium vapor, so they buzz all night. I only make a statement. I walked in the backyard on one of these, and the client said, "Wow, there's a light back there. My last house, I didn't like it. It buzzed all the time." When I hear somebody say a statement, it goes on my report. I don't care if it sounds weird. I just thought I'd let all of you know, because it'll come back to haunt you later, even though it has nothing to do with our inspection. Okay, extra credit. What's that vent pipe made out of?
P-trap.
Part of a P-trap. Okay, so if you take a look at the roof here behind us, we can see the roof has a heavy type of feel to it. We can take a look at the shingles. They look really thick. You're not going to see shingles like that much anymore. Your composition shingles of today are fiberglass, and where your asphalt shingles, asphalt, a lot of you call them asbestos. We haven't made an asbestos shingle in 30 years, but we have a lot of asphalt. Most of those are gone. Anybody put an asphalt roof on anytime lately, or able to buy any? Unless you found them buried in someone's car with their Model T. Harris, this is some sort of piece of conduit sticking out of the roof. What's missing here?
Well, it's missing what's called a roof jack, which is a piece of flashing that keeps water from traveling down the pipe and underneath to get into the house. Okay,
and this one's sort of weird, everybody. I put this on here because there was someone running around town, and Francis Horkey used to do a roof like that in the Tucson market, but it's a mesh or membrane. So if you look really hard, you can actually see the OSB matting here, and they take this membrane, it's a cotton nylon membrane, and you lay it down and you paint over it right on top of the sheathing or the decking. The problem with this is after that starts to rip, it leaks, but these are great roofs for, about 10 years, as long as you keep painting them. So this is a single ply membrane roof with elastomeric paint and no roof. Harris, why is the paint bubbling here and peeling?
Well, typically what you have is ponding water, and ponding water will cause the roof coating to flake off and get down to the actual membrane of the roofing itself.
Okay, so what's the rule? There's something like a 48-hour rule?
Uh, I think it's 2 inches after 48 hours.
Okay, so water has to evaporate within 48 hours. We're in Arizona, so that's not a benchmark we have to worry about too much, everybody. I think it rained 42 inches in some place, in some island place. So
Yeah, we're lucky if we get 12 inches a year.
yeah. So is this a curb mount or a self-flashing?
That's a self-flashing type of skylight.
Okay, so you can take a look here and everybody and see there's no curb made on the roof. This just, goes on the roof and then they patch around it, and then they've been painting. When they painted, this just filled into this area. But water ponds here and is causing this paint to peel off. So this is a repair that needs to be made. It doesn't look like it needs a roof. Okay. This is your scupper, your standard scupper. It's real teeny, 3 inches in diameter. And looks like they did some patching here, and here's your ponding, and someone's tried to paint it again to paint it. But the issue here is you take a look and see how the mineral surface, it's mineral surface, we can see the little beads in the surface here, is running up and under your parapet. So we know this is the original roof, okay, because your stucco comes down. In this case, there's no Z flashing. This is that stucco stop. And so to replace a roof on this one, they would, cut this off and then lay the new roof underneath this gap here and then 3/4 it in. So this is the original roof with a sand textured stucco finish. So we'd have to find out what age was this house built. I don't know what your averages are for most of you, but we figure about 15 to 20 years, maybe 25 max on a roof, on a built up roof. But some of the roofers, we've had them come up on a roof that's 20 years old, 25, and they'll go, yeah, we'll put a warranty on it. And you're going, there's leaks all over the inside. And you wonder, why are they warranting a roof like that? And then other roofs are 5 years old and they don't want to give you a warranty with no leaks. Okay, there's your long-term view. Harris, would you write this up, whatever this thing here is?
All right, well, that piece of pipe, whatever it is laying on top of the roof. It's not supported properly. And so that has to be written up.
Okay, so that needs to be supported. And this long vent here is most likely the kitchen stove vent right here. And here's the sink. Okay, so I always verify that the stove vent is vented outside if there's a microwave. So I have the buyer or the agent or whoever's wandering around inside the house turn that on, and I get down there and put my head to the vent to see if I can hear it. Like many of you did when you lived near the railroad, say, hey, there's a train coming. Yeah, I can see it. So it's not like I have to put my head on the rail. But I want to verify that's actually vented if they're going to have a microwave on it. Bushes need to be cut back. Question?
You need to elevate a condensate line too?
1.5 inches off the roof. Every pipe. Pipes, wires, tubing, 1.5 inches, that's the rule. Okay, this one was sort of weird. I always like to put this on every class we do, Harris. But they put these shingles on the roof. I think they must have had something sitting on the roof, like a satellite. And then they had this pipe here, and they ran the wire down through it. Here's your wind.
Yeah, that's extra reinforcement.
Yeah.
Not to down the roof.
Yeah, and again, you can see your roof here, everybody. Black is showing through. So it's a standard statement for us that any black showing through needs to be painted. That's one of our boilerplates. Okay. I see this green pipe here coming up, and it looks like it's a semi-translucent green pipe. And you see these laying around every once in a while, and those are most likely hooked for a water softener drain that drains the salt brine off down the sewer or off and back somewhere. The block construction here, I don't know what this roof in the back is. I really can't see it. But okay, we saw that one earlier, but that's that. This is probably painted over an oil-based older roof, and it's separating out, or like Harris said, too much water. If you add too much water to your mix, it tends not to have any adhesion qualities and separates from the surface.
And if the roof is wet while you're putting down the covering, the coating, it'll bubble up because water will expand
It-
to steam.
Great bubbles on it later that are awesome. Okay, so here's a seam that's loose. That could be me. I don't remember wearing shoes like that, but either way, someone took a picture and the seam is loose, so repairs are going to need to be made. Oh, also, this roof is a tan color. Some of your subdivisions will not allow white due to the reflectivity that we talked about, and their requirement to their HOA is that the roof be painted a tan color, and conformance is the name of the game. Okay, so here's, I got some ponding water here and a tall parapet. And then here's our kitchen probably, and we can see the water ponds in this area. The cricket's not big enough to divert the water to the drain. So the next time they build this roof, they're going to have to try to bring this cricket from over here on the right up here and build it out. The problem is these crickets are only 4 foot deep away from the parapet, 4 feet. And the reason it's 4 feet, they don't want to use more than 1 sheet of plywood or OSB. So they'll just cut it in a triangle and try to make a cricket out of that, where this is going to need to be, 8 feet out to make a drain. Okay, this one looks a little weird, but we got trees laying on the roof. Here's our fascia. They've nailed the drip edge. I don't know. It's either drip edge or I couldn't figure out if it's drywall corner bead. They used finish nails along the side here, and they've nailed it on top of the roof. And then they used mesh and membrane. So this is put on by someone without roofing skills. Would you write this up, Harris?
Oh, definitely. Flashing is not installed properly. And then, of course, it's got exposed nail heads. And you're not allowed to have exposed nail heads or screw heads on any roof.
Right. So I see a lot of finish nails here. You don't know who uses a hammer and finish nails anymore, but either way, so you would nail that from the top, and here you can see it's peeling up here, and normally you bend this around the corners so you have a nice corner so there's no rot. It's not mitered. I don't care about that, but it doesn't match. We saw that one earlier. Okay, here's what it looks like underneath the roof on that drip edge. You got this rot and decay, so you need to look up under your eaves and verify what's happening here. So I can see the plywood is damaged, most likely delaminated, and the fascia board is rotted. So it's going to require a new fascia board. Again, we make a note and report on this. The roof may have been replaced already, and this didn't get done because no one went downstairs and looked, and the plywood looked pretty good for them. But you got to make sure that this is replaced. I had someone call and say, "Hey, you didn't write up the dry rot." And I said, "I walked around. These bushes are in my way." He walked inside and looked through their picture window, looked right up, and there it was, right there. They could see it through the window. So I learned something valuable that day. Okay, here's your 2 drain system. One has a safety cover and one's open. You can see all this debris laying here. These need to be cleaned once in a while. Harris, do you test these at all, or you don't care, or what?
No, I don't test them, but I just make sure you have to.
Yeah, here's your 2 drains. They're both internal, and then when you look down below, you'll see them coming out of the edge of the wall somewhere.
How would you suggest to test that?
Well, I wouldn't actually. If my camera goes out, there's a major storm going on. I don't know if you can hear the thunder. I'm scared. I don't. I just state that these need to be tested to make sure they function. That's what I'd say in my report. Okay. This mineral surface product, is this roof shot, Harris?
Not only is it shot, but if you look close, you see all the exposed nail heads. And theoretically speaking, every time you have a nail going through the outside covering of the roof, you have a potential leak.
Okay, so Harris, what's the rule about nails over living space in rolled roofing?
You're not allowed to have any nailed roofing compound or product over a living space, period.
Ever? I mean, is that like ever?
Never, never, ever.
Thank you, Harris. Thank you. I knew you'd say it. Okay, here's another parapet with cracks in the top. This is not caulking, everybody. This is a stucco repair. Chip it out, go down to the wire lath, install a new lath if they have to. This is not just caulking. There's damage hidden from view. This has the Z flashing we talked about. So we'll stick our finger up underneath here, fingernails backwards, and verify that this roofing rolls up as far, and actually during new construction, you should go look and see how they do it. But this goes all the way up across the parapet and down the other side. So you have a waterproofing agent, or we'll call it a vapor barrier, so that the parapet doesn't leak like a sieve. Usually this leaks because someone stood here and made a big hole right here with their foot. So you go up there and you go, hey, what's that toe-like hole that looks like a crescent? So here's the product with a hole right there. Somebody reached in with their hand and opened that up to see what it looked like. I don't know who would do that. But there it is. Repairs are needed. Okay, here's a roof. Harris, would you write this up due to its age?
Yeah, because you see, you do have counter flashing. It goes underneath that outer coating. However, it's all deteriorated. It's dried out. Needs to be replaced.
Yeah, this baby is so old, everybody, that it's rotting. So, you know, and here it comes up on top of the parapet. They 3-coursed it in. 3-coursing is sort of a fallacy when they say it, but it's tar, mesh, more tar, and then tar on top of the tar, and they call it 3-coursing. So here's the close-up picture. I never liked these. Here's what I like, that. And that shows me where it's all rotted along this edge. See this? It's rotted. See all these bubbles in the surface? The sun's boiling the product. Gaps right here. These are the air vents. This angled piece here is where air cycles between all the rafters on the upward side. And there's a cant strip here. And here, cant, C-A-N-T. It's a little angled piece of felt. You see it laying around once in a while. But this goes on top of the parapet. So this must be masonry. The division we're in, I can look back here and see slump block. Okay. So if you take a look here, it's 36-inch wide product, and they gave us 18-inch reveal. Here they did more reveal. Oh, these roofers. And then here they brought this one in because they were just trying to make it work by stretching it. You know, if you can't stretch it, it's not going to make it. Okay, Harris, does this need a roof?
Yeah, this definitely needs a roof because it's just not installed properly at this point.
It's been here for 25 years. What are you talking about?
Yeah, I know. That's why it's time to be replaced.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, you're a forecaster of doom. Yeah. Okay. Okay. This roof.
I'm not afraid to say it's to be replaced.
Thank you, Harris. I'm not either. Okay. So here's a parapet wall on the side. Again, we see parapets, most likely block. It's 8 inches. Here's some sort of tree.
Your mic is not working, Brick.
What? What?
Your mic is not working.
My mic is not working?
Nope.
No, it's working fine. I can hear it.
Oh, okay.
I hear him.
Okay. There you go.
Your mic isn't working yet.
Harris, you need new batteries.
Harris, you need batteries on your.
No microphone. Keep talking.
Yeah, everybody can hear me except for you, Harris.
Nope.
Yeah, Harris, here, look at my hand, Harris. Your ear.
We can hear.
Okay, Harris.
We can't hear a word you're saying.
Yeah, well, somebody say something and see if he can hear you. Can somebody talk to Harris and see if he can hear you?
Harris, can you hear this? Can you hear this, Harris? Evidently not.
No, okay. So
Harris, can you hear me now?
Okay, Harris's earphone is dead. So okay, everybody, let's take a look here, and then oh, thank you for writing that. We have a lot of older flat roofs in Tucson. Thank you. You have a lot of older flat roofs. Well, we'll get away from these and go to a different roof so you feel better. Here's an evaporative cooler. Here's a vent sticking up, and we have trees, parapets. And again, these are just older buildings with pipes and stuff.
Rick,
Yeah.
can you go back to,
More?
isn't that gas vent too close to that swamp cooler?
Yeah, the problem here is that this gas vent's been extended in height, so it's higher. It's got to be a foot higher or more than this. And then here's your combustion air vent. But, you know, there's not much you can do about it because it comes up out of the roof. Okay, Harris still can't tell. Can someone text him and tell him his batteries are dead on his ear, Patrick?
Hey, Brick, I just texted him a minute ago. Tell him that.
Yeah, I did too.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so there we go. Okay, we did this one. Let's go the other way. Okay, here's a close-up, and we can see that they've embedded. You were asking about the fitting. Do you see the hub here on the fitting? Gas fittings have to have a hub on both ends. If they don't, it's the wrong fitting. Gas fittings are tapered, so when you screw this pipe into it, the pipe is small and gets bigger. So as it screws in, it gets tighter. Okay, so this white tape is generally for water, and the yellow tape is for gas. And what's the difference? Well, one's thicker than the other. But some jurisdictions, if you're getting a permit and you're doing it, they want to see the yellow tape. The only difference is the thickness. So there's 4 or 5 different colors, and each one is thicker as you work your way up the food chain. Just one more wrap on it, and you're done. Here they've used drywall screws. I don't really care, but the wood is not painted. It's laying up there. Here I can see no mesh on the repair. They may have nailed this, so I would write this up. Plus, it's not painted to match the roof.
Hey, Brick, would you write up the white tape needs to be replaced with yellow tape?
I would not. It's no different. It's just one extra. I would make a statement that we need to verify, someone does, that they did a pressure test for this new gas line. If one doesn't exist, they'll have to have a pressure test during their inspection.
You have to paint that mastic?
Yes. The manufacturer states that.
Oh, manufacturer states that.
Yeah, it's not a code. The manufacturer states you put it on, you wait till it skims over, and at that time you paint it.
Did you also say that block right there should be painted also?
It doesn't matter. I actually find out they last longer unpainted, because the problem is you didn't pre-prime this. So once you paint it, it just soaks up like a wick anyway and rots out in about 6 months to a year. So unless you pre-prime these on the bottom and edges, they just rot away.
Okay.
Okay, this is a TPO roof. Take a look. I don't know if any of you have seen these or you do any of them. Every once in a while I run into one, so I inspect it. Here's a T-top vent. A lot of your condominiums are going to this. It's mechanical strapping at the top. There's no counter flashing, so take a look here where I'm pointing. There's no counter flashing, so I wrote that up. It's bicycle tire time. It comes as a white product or black. The reflectivity is the issue. This was designed by Firestone. It lines, it's for lining ponds full of oil and things that are volatile. That's what it was designed for. They said, hey, you know what? Let's sell this as a roofing product too. So there you go. So the proper way is that every time there's a cut or a seam or you have a division, I got to have a patch on it. So take a look here, everybody. This is a curb mount, and they went ahead and they put the product in, they vulcanized it in, and you're all set to go. Okay. Here's your other one. Here's your boot. You can come here and try to pull these edges up. It's just like a bicycle tire. These things are great, but they're super expensive. Super, super expensive. This event, screws are missing. I wrote it up. Here's your cricket. Again, no repairs up here. I need counter flashing on my metallic strip. Mechanically holding it, a little bit of ponding water. You can squeegee it off if it's an issue. Here's your boot. It's already made up, so the boot's made. A lot of you call it the scupper vent. Here's a lot of you call it the scupper vent. Somebody's mic is on. Hi, David. Put your mic off. Or Steve. Steve, David. Thank you, one of you. Okay, here we go. Here's called stick and peel. This is a roll of rolled roofing. It lays down and you pull a strip off and it's supposed to stick down and it's not. So wrote it up. Oh man, this is old. Using a clipboard. Okay, we saw this one earlier. Let's skip it. Okay, what's wrong with this shingle roof, Harris?
You don't have the right pitch
Okay.
for a shingle roof.
Are
Gotta be a
anyone going to write
412.
this up? Is anyone going to write this up, or all of you? All of you.
Write it up.
You're going to write it up.
All of it.
Shingle should never be installed on a slope less than 312. And so, oh, I could go 212. Well, yeah, sure, if you know that's what it is. But it's 312 by the manufacturer. Unless you can prove something different, we'll just move along here. Okay, this is a foam roof. So those of you that may not see spray on foam, you'll mainly see this on condominiums, condos, some commercial stuff. There's a lot of bubbles in it. So this is a defective roof. All these air bubbles. And the foam expands. You just don't see it much because it can't be installed on a windy day because the foam flies through the air and then sticks to anything in sight. So you just don't see it. Here's an evaporative cooler hookup right here in the middle. Here's the box for it. Here's your combustion air vent. One's high, one's low for air relief. Here's your sewer vent in the back, but since the parapet's open on this side, I don't need to extend this. Otherwise, this would have had to be extended up. Oops, let's go back. Sorry. This would have had to be extended up. Okay. Here's conduit coming in. It's being supported as required, like Harris said. Here I see a black can of tar. Tar can never be used on foam. Either way, it needs a roof, everybody. So that's what I wrote up. Okay, this is where tar was put on. Remember we talked about the manufacturer says you have to paint the tar. If you paint it too soon, the tar moves, but the paint can't. So I get the separation. They'll have to paint it again. And a lot of you go, well, when did they put the roof on? Well, you put your finger in, it's really gooey. So we know they just did it. Okay, this is a scupper. If this scupper extension is so long, it's touching the header box here, that's wrong. They either need to build a bigger header box or cut this shorter. But this is wrong. And then see this gap right here against the stucco? So what happened on a couple of houses I looked at, the water filled this box up so much it actually came back around and came back into the house through the parapet because this header box couldn't take the amount of water that was coming into it from the roof.
What's the spec as far as the gap that you need to have?
Yeah, well, typically these stick out 3 inches because I got to have a drip edge, a drip loop, so it doesn't come back into the roof, into the parapet. These things are pretty wild because they tend to leak. So here's your header box. So that's wrong. I wrote it up. Here's your sewer clean outs in the yard. One to the house, one away. Okay, it takes a second to acclimate your eyes to this. So focus in, and I'm going to point at the bottom. Here is my Z flashing. Here's my roof, and here's my stucco parapet, and here's the styrofoam underlayment, and here's the framing here where the tar paper is, and then here's the roofing product. So they cut through the parapet for the water to drain, and when they did, they left all the styrofoam exposed, and there's no counter flashing. There's actually no scupper. Let's just do it that way. There's no scupper. And these pictures are from houses that cost a fortune, everybody. So, okay, we're gonna go to tile here. Your tile roofs. These are your boards, and see all the spacing here. And everybody goes, "Why is that there?" Well, when it leaks, we want that water to make it off the roof. Here, this is lead. Does anyone write down the fact that they've used lead on the roofs? Do you write it down, Harris?
No, I don't.
Yeah, okay. Well, we write it down because everyone says they want to save water so they can water their plants. So the nice thing about lead is it makes them forget that I didn't tell them. And so these are lead flashings, and so this flashing slides down, and then this gets crimped over on the top of your roof. Okay. They've loaded the roof with tile. Harris, why do they load the roof?
Well, typically the roof tiles weigh so much, it puts a stress on the trusses and pushes them down so that they don't sag later on.
Yeah, before they did this, everybody, you'd get trusses showing up, truss marks showing up on the drywall inside 4 to 5 years later as the trusses, the weight sag down. So now we preload them, and then they can go ahead and build the rest of the house and get everything else done. And the trusses are free floating from support wall to support wall. So is this concrete or clay, Harris?
Those are concrete tiles.
Okay, so they're a lightweight type tile. And then they have a little, if you look right here, I'm pointing, You see that little hook right here? That hangs on here so they can install them. So the manufacturer says you got to secure, so 3 rows up, 3 rows over, and the rest are laying there by gravity. So they're not all nailed on. This is the drip edge at the edge of the roof. Okay, so you can see here how water's been leaking out of this and running along this lip here. So somewhere your underlayment or your tile is leaking and water is coming out of this drip edge. It shouldn't be doing that. So somewhere up in here, when the tile's on there, the water's running down and coming out of that metal lip. When I see that, I write that up, and sure enough, they come up there and find out they've got to do some repairs.
Rick, there was a question about sandbags instead of tiles on roofs.
Sandbags do what?
There was just a question about why this person is seeing sandbags on roofs.
Yeah, I don't know. It could be a type of roof. We used to see tires on buildings because the roof was
No, Brick, here in Phoenix, on new construction homes, right now, that picture you have with the tiles loaded on the roof, right now I'm seeing sandbags sitting up on roofs prior to them loading the tiles. Do you know why that is?
I'm not sure why.
They probably don't have enough tiles.
They don't have enough tile, most likely.
So they're putting the sandbag up there as the weight for the weight,
Yes.
hold down the underlayment.
They don't have enough tile.
Supply chain issues. Yep.
Yeah. So,
Okay, so the purpose of the sandbags is to hold down the tar paper until.
No, it's the weight of the roof to add enough weight to
Okay, so kind of loading the roof.
loading the roof. That's all they're there for. This has nothing to do with.
Okay,
It's gonna-
gotcha. That's what I kind of thought, but wasn't sure. Okay,
Yeah, take a
because it doesn't,
picture,
seem like it'd be the same amount of weight. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll have to take a picture and show you.
Yeah, take a picture. That'd be great. I'd love to add that. Okay, there's your cracked tile. Now, if you're doing brand new houses, they don't want you to walk on the roofs. And if you could just not do that, that'd be the best. Right now, we're doing a lot of 11-month warranty stuff. Okay, so this is a brand new house, and you can see here's the tar paper. I mean, look at this. Come on. Brand new. So, and they still went ahead and put the tile on and didn't flash this whole area. This will all have to be replaced. This will all have to be pulled back up and redone. Okay, so these are concrete shingles. Okay, this is back to like some sort of foam painted roof. And these foam roofs, we just don't see them much anymore. Again, like I said, the birds peck the hell out of them. You can't use tar on these, so you fill them with caulking and then you paint them. Okay, does that need a roof?
It needs a roof.
Okay, you can tell that from the ground. There's at least 2 shingles. I see 1 here and here. What's the rule for number of shingle roofs I can have on a structure?
Maximum 3 layers of roof.
Yeah, it's 2 layers by code now. The IRC has been very specific and changed that. So no more than 2.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it used to be 3 because we could do that. And it's sort of funny. When roof shingles weighed more, they put 3. Now they weigh less, and they're telling you can only have 2 layers on. So that's the rule. So here you go. Here's your shingle roof. And what kind of valley is this called?
Cut in.
It's cut valley. So you lay one in, you cut the others, and the water flows down this. The reason the roofer likes to do this, he doesn't care. He won't be around in 10 years, but he wants this roof to wear out. We don't have a lot of rain here, but we would never do this roof in an area where it's raining a lot because it would just wear this valley out. Okay. Harris, here we go. Here's something you get all excited about. What's this thing back here?
That's called an electrical service box.
Woo!
Main entrance.
Yeah, is that underground?
It definitely has a ground.
Okay, what's wrong with it? What are those 2 boxes attached to this right here? Should those be there?
No, you see, the riser that feeds the panel can't have anything attached to it. No telephone, no TV, no anything.
So you're telling me it's wrong.
It's wrong.
Thank you. You're the best. Okay, this is an architectural grade shingle roof. How can I tell? Let's go back. That's a standard shingle. It's lighter weight. It's a standard shingle. It's called a 20-year shingle. Excuse me. This is an architectural grade shingle, a little bit thicker, pattern design. It's still a 4-tab shingle or 3-tab shingle, but it's thicker in nature. So as we look across there, here's our cap. You come down here, probably ABS, I don't know, or PVC, depending on where you're at. And then here's a T-top vent for one of the vents below. What the builders are doing now, they're only putting 1 or 2 of these through the roof. They're using air admittance valves on the wall that have to be accessible behind a door. So you have to verify they have the correct type there, or they put them underneath an island. Okay, here we go. They put a valley in, and they cut the shingles to it, and then they dump down here. And the problem here is they're dumping into the side of these shingles, and they're low slope. They're low slope. What's the slope requirement?
312.
Here you go, 312, and these are on a lower slope, so this is wrong. Man, don't worry, I give out your names. I don't use my own name, so they don't get mad at me. Okay, here's a repair made by a professional roofer. The shingles are nailed at the top. The drip edge is, or either way, we're gonna need repairs here properly done, or maybe a roof. What I do is I take the edge of the shingle here, I break it off in my hand, and I roll it between my 2 fingers. And if it breaks in like a cracker and there's nothing left, when I say like a saltine cracker and it just breaks into nothing and it's powdery, and I just clap my hands and throw it into the air, I said, well, this is gone. These aren't asbestos, everybody. These are, what are they? Composition?
Asphalt.
Yeah, they're asphalt. They're asphalt, but they're not asbestos. So they're not asbestos. So we're getting rid of the asphalt shingles. We're going to a composition shingle. Composition, which is a scrim of fiberglass. And here we go. So this is that roof we were looking at up there above, and we're seeing our angle. We're seeing our metal valley here, nicely done. The problem is here we're dumping into the side of the shingle roof that's almost flat. Well, that's too bad. So this is a 20-year shingle. They're thinner, and you always want them so they're not lined up. So if you notice here, all the lines in them aren't lined up with each other. They're offset at a 45 as required by the manufacturer. Okay. Why did this roof blow off, everybody? So
Improper nailing.
yeah, improper nailing. I mean, just it took the underlayment and the shingle off. Just pull it right off. So nails. The nails must.
Nails too short.
Yeah, nails are too short. The nails must penetrate the decking. That is the code requirement. The nails must penetrate the decking. Now, that's everywhere except at the eaves. They've said, well, that looks bad on the eaves, so we're going to let you use a shingle that's. So the problem here is they could have used a longer nail into the fascia board and you wouldn't have noticed it. So it just blew the roof off and flattened it right back. Look at that. Look how nicely those stuck together. It's beautiful.
So most likely the entire roof's gonna have to be replaced.
Most likely, yeah. It's installed incorrectly. Shingles, the nails are too short. And that's a 30-year type roof. Okay. Does this roof need replacement?
Yes.
Definitely.
Yeah. So you can see that the fiberglass scrim is showing through it. So on a sunny day, when you look at it, it's so bright and shiny, you go, wow, that's bright and shiny. That roof's gone. There's a close-up. This is an asphalt roof. This is not fiberglass. This is asphalt. It almost looks like paper covered in rocks. If you see one of these, that roof is probably 30 or 40 years old. There's no coming back from that one. There's a penny right here. See the penny? Maybe that's a Lincoln penny or something, before Lincoln was president. Okay, this is your example of an asbestos roof. So you get closer to it, and sometimes they'll paint these roofs. So in the back here, look up here where my arrow is, I can see that they've installed a composition shingle roof on the back side, probably so you can get up to that area. And then here's our chimney with some sort of specialized whatever around it here. But we don't walk on these, but I'm going to point right here, and you can see in the valley, all these broken tiles right here. See it? It's pretty hard to repair these.
Is the reason you don't walk on these because they break all the
They
time?
break. They break. Yeah.
Yeah, they're very fragile.
Yeah, it's sort of like why I don't walk out on lake water that's frozen in Arizona. You know,
I don't know that I've ever seen any of that stuff in Phoenix.
you just have to look. You have to do some older housing. You probably all get all the cream puff, brand new stuff that's 10 years old. You know, for some reason, everyone says, "Hey, you know, Brick would like to do a house that's 50 years old or 60." And this is what I get while you're all doing brand new houses and then whining about how easy they are.
Thanks, Rick.
Yeah, you're welcome. This is another asbestos house. You can see the shingles and it has a little wire piece on the sides, but I'm just showing you this so next time you see one, there's just not many of these laying around anymore, everybody. They're just not laying around. Okay, this one's back east. I did this so you'll feel better if you're up in up north. Here's snow on the roof. How do you write up that roof, Harris?
It needs to be replaced.
Well, you can't see the roof up above here where the trees are. I can't see the roof, so I would make a statement that there's.
You can look at the edges of the roof,
Yeah, right.
edges of the shingle.
You're right. I can't tell. Then the siding here, or the cladding, we're reported to write on it, and I see some green moss growing. So maybe this is the north side of the house. They say, you know, the north side has moss on it. Okay, here we're going to clay tile. Okay, here's your clay tile. Here's your eave overhang, and you can look up and see. You take a look and you see if they're all even. Usually you want a 1 to 2 inch overhang that creates a drip edge so the water through capillary action doesn't come back and sit on the fascia. This is mission tile, everybody. The roofers today are getting, if you're a roofer, I'm really sorry if I'm saying something bad, but they're getting lazy as hell. So right here where I'm pointing, they're using silicone. I don't know how this started, but I don't know of anywhere where it says, please use silicone to glue down my tiles in Arizona. But your mission tile, the idea of the cement here and nails, let's call it a nail, was to nail these down so they wouldn't slide off. So this is a cap, and a pan. And the water's supposed to run over one, and then off the edge here. Here's your, sorry. I set the alarm so it would tell me when I'm at the hour. Here you can look up and you can see they missed a row of tile when they laid this, and they just stretched it out so thinking no one would see. So if you don't walk on these roofs, you can put a ladder up if you want, but it's best to say, I did not walk on this and it must be inspected by a roofer. We don't walk on tile. And you say, when? Ever. We just don't walk on tile. Ever.
I always drone these, always.
You do what?
I always use drones on these types of roofs.
Oh, drones. Yeah, I don't even use drones. I don't even put a ladder on them anymore. I don't do any of that. Because if I miss something, then the roofer comes out, and they get a roofer, and or you can see it from the ground. So here you can see the exposed wood here. You can see that this edge here. Look over here. Look at my arrow. See this? And everyone said, "How'd you get this picture?" Well, let's pretend I'm hanging from a drone. I just put the ladder up, and I got to the top of it, and I took a look. This roof is so bad that nothing is overlaying any other shingles. I mean, it's horrible. Okay, so I'm standing up in the parapet, and you can see the cracked tiles here and the debris all over it, the flashing. So I just wrote this up as a roofer needs to come and repair if possible. If not, replacement will be needed. And they pull these shingles off. So clay tile's reusable, everybody. It's reusable. So when the roofer says, "Oh no, we got to replace all these," that's crazy. The tiles are good forever. I mean, they make clay pottery. It's only good for 400 years. Here's a cracked tile. Who walked on this? That's what I always want to know. Who walked on this? It was one
You
of
did.
Here's your footprint right here. I can see it. I'm gonna do footprint analysis, and we're gonna check it. Okay, here's some arrows. I don't know why this is here. I usually don't put arrows, but either way, I can see here's some gaps along this mud ball at the top. Cap and pan. This type of tile. This is a real soft tile, San Luis. It's handmade, some of this. So if you look at it, it's thin at the top and big at the bottom. Originally, the tile wasn't very, now it's all made in a machine, but it's the width of a man's or woman's thigh from your knee up on your body, and that's how these tiles were made. So if you look at the tiles that were made, 100 years ago. They're shorter because everybody's leg was shorter, and as they got taller, these shingles got taller in uniform in length. I'm not making fun of short people, so this one's out of focus, but I wanted to show here this tile's just missing. I think this is near the golf course. There's some golfers here that are bad, and they like to hit these a lot. Yeah. Okay, here's your San Luis. This is this handmade tile that's super expensive. They used to throw these away. We call them clinkers. They're so here's a burn mark, here's a burn mark. They used to throw these away, and then someone said, oh, I got to have them. So now you get more money for ones that used to throw away as garbage. But you clink them together and they make a clinking sound. That's why they're called clinkers. But you don't walk out on these. There's no way to walk out. So when they put these on, they walk off the roof as they're doing repairs. Okay, this is a porch with no underlayment. This is the way, if any of you inspected a long time, there was a subdivision built at Swan and Sunrise. If you got into the attic, this is what the roofs look like that were tile. They didn't put any underlayment under it, no sheathing. And most of those roofs have all now been replaced, but you can see here where the water leaks a little bit when it's raining. But for some reason, they built a whole subdivision up there with no sheathing under the tile. I don't want to mention the name because I'll taint it. Here's a tile roof with no the slope isn't adequate. Oh man, they're upset at me. Can't help it. And they said we roofed underneath it, and the tile's just there for looks. Okay, whatever. But we wrote it up. Okay, this is an older house. It's burnt adobe. Here again, damaged tiles, and you can see here the underlayment is showing. Here's your nails where they've nailed it back. I see plywood, everybody. Right here. Here's your plywood, and here's your tar paper. You can reach up in there and grab a piece of this and tear a little piece off and see how unflexible it is. The roofers love to tear these roofs off now because they weren't installed properly, but originally when I started, you could see a roof 40, 50 years old with tile. It's never leaked a day in its life, and then they replace it, and it leaks 5 years later and go, well, the tar paper's shot. We'll have to replace it. Okay, there's your nail on your end. You can see the type of product it is. It's a clay. This is what happens when the uninformed idiot walks on a roof. This should be lasting 50 to 100 years, and they try to walk across it and then go, well, these tiles are defective. They just won't hold the weight of an idiot. And they hop there and walk across the roof. There's no reason this should be broken, okay? There's no reason these should be broken. So this is an S tile. It's one piece overlapping to the next one. Hidden nails, but again, it's broken because they walked on it. Broken because they walked on it. Okay, on brand new housing, we have to have a kick out flashing. Here's your kick out. It was up into the stucco. I wrote it up. They said, we'll fix that. And they just slipped it back where it was, put in your pan flashing, and the kick out flashing is working. But I said, well, aren't you going to fill the gap? So I have to fill that up. Those are not my shoes or my legs. I don't know who this is. I think it's the roofer because I don't work on tile. Didn't I say that? Okay. This is that counter flashing we saw that's made out of lead. Counter flash goes down and then it's folded over inside. I got leaves touching the roof. This is again, lead flashing on a curb mount tile roof. Look at your flashing sticking up here, bad. And then you come out here to your valley and take a look and see what it's like. And you look and see if they're nailed along this edge. I don't walk on these roofs. I just tell them to get a roofer and they can do it. I know in the Phoenix market, you guys walk everywhere. Here, the tile's missing or it doesn't stick out as far. We take a look and we look down the line. And if the tiles aren't lined up, we write that up immediately because everything else has to line up perfect. Okay, so here we are. We can see these aren't lined up here. This isn't lined up. This one here is missing a nail. No kick out flashing and no pan flashing right here. Okay. You can't walk on a tile roof and step here at all ever. So in case you want to walk on tile, you don't step at the top edge. You walk on the bottom edge. You walk on the bottom edge and then you can walk across these with no problem. Here's your valley. I got to have enough space here on your valley so water can flow off. Your flashing or underlayment here has to stick down far enough to work. And then you can take a look up on this edge. These tile roofs are so bad now. You just need to have a roofer. This is already rotted. Take a look at this front edge. See the rot occurring here? Once I see this, I'm done anyway. I don't have to waste any more time. Who did this repair? I don't know what they're doing. I'm missing a tile, but these are S tiles. This is concrete with an epoxy cover. This tile slid out more than the rest because it's not nailed in. Here's your fascia board here. Hey, Harris, this is something you used to install. What is this called?
Step flashing.
Step flashing. He's the best. And then there's a pan flashing here. There's no kick out here. And this is called slump block. But here's your tile. And again, another tile roof. Here's a view from down below. It just depends on how you're taking your picture, everybody. You know, you got to take a bigger picture and show the mess. A close-up picture of a mess doesn't help you. Okay, for extra credit, what is this metal roof made out of? It's
Looks
soldered.
like slate.
Huh?
Copper.
Copper. Woo! Copper. This is a super expensive roof. And it's down in the barrio in Tucson. And I took this picture and I went, oh man, all that money, and it gets a black patina to it. And you know, as a copper roof, it sure looks pretty. Okay, so this one here, the tile roof goes in, and here's your pan flashing right here, pan. It's too short. It was too short to make it all the way out, so they put another flashing under, and all it does is through capillary action pulls its way back in and leaks. Oops, let's go back. And it leaks and is leaking around this chimney here into the inside of the house. The roofer said, we repaired it. With what? I don't see any repairs there. I just see a mess. Okay. This tile is slid downward. I don't have to walk on these. I can stand on the built-up painted roof. Look at all this gaps here. All these repairs. Again, home inspector hops here, walks across the roof and goes, I don't understand why these are breaking. Stop walking on the roof. Okay. I'm getting all my pictures from the top here. I don't have to walk anywhere. But they're walking in the middle. You have to stand on the end if you're going to walk on these for some reason. Okay, for extra credit, why do I have these round circles of? That's how the water drips off the roof on the pan. Again, look here. See the tile not on top, overlapped. Is this roof shot, Harris?
It is gone.
Okay, again, I'm up in the San Juan Islands because I like it. This was sent to me. One roof, two roofs. It's only two roofs, but it's asphalt roofing from, I don't know, the 50s. It needs a roof. There it is. It needs a roof. It needs another roof. Okay, the reason I know this is from Seattle, when the inspectors do a job up there, they have this standoff. They're required to get up on the roof, clip themselves into that, put on a harness as they're doing their inspection. Anybody here wear a harness to do an inspection in Tucson or Phoenix? I know you're not. And then you put this clip on here. So I just thought I'd show you. Needs a roof. Roof's bad. Okay, this is a roof in the barrio in Tucson. Here's a vent. Nice slope to it. We know these are probably 2x4s below us. So they put this air conditioner on top of the roof on a roof that probably can't support much weight. So inside the attic, we're going to need to see some more framing there to hold that thing together. There's your vent. Again, I love Seattle. This is your starter course. The shingles are blown away. We saw that already. Repairs, nails sticking through. This is hail damage. Hail damage here, hail damage to that. These shingles here are blowing up and the wind is catching them. So I just lifted this up to take a picture to prove to them it's going to need a new roof. Am I going to need a roof installed, Harris, or is it not finished yet?
It's just not finished.
Thank you. Okay, here we are underneath the eaves, and we're taking a look up, and we can see they put new plywood in at some time, but all these old stains here. Here's a receptacle. Harris, you're all excited again. What's wrong with this receptacle and that exposed wire that I can touch?
You have exposed Romex, not protected properly, and a non-waterproof electrical box.
Okay, When you have an air vent up on your roof, there's supposed to be a 1/4 inch vent on there to prevent bugs and animals from getting in on all of these except for the vent for the dryer. The dryer shall not be like that. No vent, no screening. Metal roof, screws have to be here and it has to be secured. So you take a look down the edges and look at your screws. Metal roofs, there's always got to be a cap here so that this pipe that should be painted is sealed to prevent leakage from occurring. These screws here have to be screwed tight to the roof. When you're walking on it, you step on it, and if the screw stays in place, but the roof moves, it's going to leak. So you write that up. Here's a roof in Stone Canyon, and the roofer put this in, and each one of these has to have a screw in it along the edges here. And here's your flashing, and here's your cricket. Okay, and here's the gutter. So I'm up there checking all that out. Here's your metal roof. This is a snow guard. So this is an area where the snow came off, and this is Mount Lemon. So this is Mount Lemon. They put snow guards here. So my job is to verify that this was secure. So I got up there and tried to pull on them, and they don't come off. This prevented the snow from sliding off, taking off the gutter, and crushing the deck below. But are there enough screws, Harris?
Well, it depends on what the manufacturer recommends.
Well, I only see about 8 or 9 in the field. Should there be like more?
I would think every foot.
Yeah, okay. So we'll take a look. They're 36-inch wide panels, and I see one every 3 feet. That's wrong. They're 7 to 12 inches depending on the manufacturer. So I'm missing 2 here. I'm missing 2 or 3 here. I'm missing 2 or 3 here. There's not enough screws. So we wrote it up. Now, there's something wrong here. They laid the metal on and realized when they're getting to the end, it wasn't going to meet. So they had to try to slide it over. So they slid a piece in here to make up the difference. And your screws here, they're on top and they're down in the valley here on your panels that are 36 inches wide. As long as they meet the manufacturer's requirements, I don't care. But the roof wasn't the same as at both ends. And no one ever noticed it until this metal was going on. So this is pretty. I like this one. But you can see the screws are put on. About every foot is required. Here's your ridge, and it's screwed down, screw down, screw down, screw down. Okay. We try not to walk on these because we don't want to have footprints showing where we take the patina off the rusted roof. So again, we're going to do a check of your shoe. I took this picture here. This is on a house that's about 100 years old, and it's got the original roof on it, and the roofer came by and said, "Oh, you need a new roof on this." These are metal tiles, shingles that were pounded together, and each seam was soldered together, and it's never leaked a day in its life. It's still the original roof 100 years later. Okay. In cold country, just let you know that. Okay. Here's a close-up picture of the screws loose. Right there. Screws are loose. And why are they loose? Because they didn't get drawn down tight enough. Water just leaks in through those. This is underdriven, correct, and overdriven. So the way the roofing product goes, it's sort of contrary, is the one piece that has a leg on it goes first, the other one hangs over it. Everyone thinks this should go on top. It's the other way around. Okay. And then when you put your nails, no one's nailing, they're screwing them on. So we'll just keep it that way. This is from the Roofing Institute. It tells you how it's to be installed and the correct installation. You can just read through all this. I'll let you take a picture if you want to take a picture at this time. Otherwise, this will be ready for upload for you in a day or two. Take a look here. There's no counter flashing. It's behind the stucco, and the water leaks in. Okay. Here's again a metal roof. Here's a nail sticking out. I'm sorry, a screw. It has a grommet on it. Has anyone here inspected metal roofs? If not, this will be your bread and butter. You can make some money. Here's a close-up of the screw. It's self-tapping with a rubber grommet. These used to have lead on them. That's roofing. Any questions? Can you talk about dead valleys? Yeah, they're bad. They need to be fixed. Okay, any questions about roofing? Okay. You've been our best class. Okay, Harris, you used to install these. What is this?
That's called cast iron.
Okay, so it's in the crawl space. I got cast iron and I got this water running down the edges here, and I got a pipe coming into the side of it. So defect, old cast iron, lead, galvanized material. Determine what it is. Implications, chance of sewer gas entering the home. Cost of replacement. Consult with licensed plumber to assess, make repairs. When? Prior to the expiration of the inspection contingency period. Why is that there? In other states, these guys are writing down, just take care of this before you close. What's the real estate license, real estate contract say? You negotiate, and then you don't negotiate, and then you buy it. So in other parts of the country, they seem to think you can negotiate till the day of closing, and that isn't the way it works. Okay, so this is called a cast iron sanitary tee. So let's go back and look. Harris, why do we call this a sanitary tee?
Well, because you can see the pipe is coming in from the right-hand side, it's curved in downward motion.
So this fitting can never lay on its back. It always has to stand up and down, so this water slopes and flows down it. So when we're talking about plastic fittings and they have a sanitary tee laying on their back, it won't drain properly. Okay, Harris, would you write this up?
Yeah, that's that's bad.
Okay, so
Water will siphon out of that trap,
okay,
an S trap.
it's called an S trap. So what you do to determine whether this is bad, everybody, if there's a pop-up, remove the pop-up, go over to the toilet and flush the toilet. If you see the water bouncing up and down in here, we know that there's no venting. Now we can fix this by putting an air admittance valve on top of this and a sanitary tee and reventing this. And so we can take out the S trap with a sanitary tee and an air admittance valve to fix it. Okay, implications, sewer gas entering the home. So someone calls you and says, you inspected the house, I smell sewer gas. Well, okay. Should you have written this up? The answer is what, Harris?
Yes, definitely.
See, Harris and I have talked together so many times, he'll say, yes. Harris, this is a sewage, well, this is not like it's a gas, I said it right there, sewage ejector pump. Okay, this is different than it's a garbage can lid. I want everyone to notice this. See, take a look here. It's a garbage can. See, right here, here's the lid. Doesn't matter what it is. But this is sewer ejector. So somebody goes to the bathroom upstairs and dumps this in here. What's wrong with this pipe? Can a bathroom toilet, standard toilet, ever be hooked to 2-inch pipe?
No, 4-inch.
The 3-inch pipe is the minimum, everyone. So unless the toilet, and they do sell special toilets now that have a Mansonator pump hooked to them to chew up everything and then send it on its merry way. Okay, garbage can lid repurposed, sewer gas is entering home. So they were complaining that they had sewer gas smell. Well, I guess so. If you take a look here at the floor, we can see the tile are 8x8. It's probably asbestos. Consult with licensed plumber to assess, verify operation. When? Again. Okay, here's a sanitary tee. It's ABS. Or is that PVC, Harris? I can never remember.
Well, the PVC is the white and the black is the ABS.
Oh, good. Can I glue these two together?
Not unless you have special glue.
Okay, so the code says I can use a special glue, and what color is it?
I think it's green.
It's green. It's green. So some areas, so if you look here, they tried to glue it with black. See how it's running down the pipe? Right here, running down the pipe. So some areas don't allow you to do that. The only way these can be connected together is if I put a section of ABS, or I mean PVC pipe up, ABS down to it, and then I put a no hub coupling. No hub coupling, a mechanical coupling. Harris, what is wrong with all the PVC fittings here that are glued together? What's missing?
Well, the glue is missing.
Well, or primer, or both.
Right.
Primer is blue. Primer is blue. Okay, so let's take a look at our pipes here. Here I see it's wrapped with glue. Here I see it's wrapped with glue. This one has a long sweep to it, so it's okay. But this sanitary tee can never lay backwards on its back. Here's a P-trap. This is coming down to a trap right here. See it? So something above us must be something. Special glue, mechanical fasteners required. Tailpiece too long. Whatever. Okay, here's our air admittance valve right here. What's wrong with that one?
Looks like it's too close. Too
It's got a
close to
spring inside of it.
Huh?
Has a spring inside of it.
Yeah, that's what's wrong with it. This one is only allowed to be in RVs. What's an RV? Recreational vehicle. Sorry, I didn't know what that meant. And some sort of motor homes. The ones that must be in houses have no spring. Let's do it that way. So on the top of it, it'll say not to be used in residential. It says right on it. So this can't be used here. This is your sanitary tee. It's standing up and down like we talked about. Here it comes around, and here's your sink right here. See it?
How about a manufactured home?
These are for manufactured homes. That's what this is for. It meets the HUD guideline. HUD
So
guideline.
with a spring,
This, yes. The others look like a little white mushroom. They're a Studer valve. See, it says here, approved for mobile home use only. So some of your mobile homes, that's what's allowed. But some of your pre-manufactured housing, they want to make sure it meets the code in the area it's going. So they're going to put the type of unit that's here that's not spring loaded. So it's called an atmospheric vent. And what it's for is it's a barometric. So barometric pressure makes it turn open. It stops the glugging effect of water leaving the sink. Otherwise, it goes glug, 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 and then it doesn't run very well. This is for a water heater. Harris, is this old?
it is old and backdrafting.
Yeah. So here you can see the burn mark in the front. So on new water heaters that are vapor resistant, would I ever see back venting?
What's that now?
No.
No. Yeah, it's a trick question. You'll never see back venting on a vapor resistant water heater because there's no opening to the gas. It has a little window on it. I hate these things because you can't tell if you're lighting the pilot or not, the piezoelectric. So older water heaters have back venting. Newer water heaters will never have that, except up at the hood. So if you take a look here, this one's sitting on little feet. A vapor resistant one won't have a door here. It won't have any open flame. It'll have a piezoelectric starter on the top. So this water heater is old. It's probably 15 or 20 years old. Vapor resistant water heaters have been made and installed for the last 15 years. So there you go. Flame rollout. Consult with licensed plumber to assess repair. It's a replacement of the water heater, everybody. Okay, here's this is called a cottage tee. I love these things. It's a little Y here. Here's your here's your coupling we talked about. Here's your PVC. There's no glue and there's no primer on the fittings. This is in Flagstaff. Anybody here from Flagstaff? Okay, never mind. And you can see here there's no leakage, so I'm feeling pretty good about all this. But here's again, if I transition between two different materials, I have a mechanical fastener. Kaboom. Okay, now here's our hub I talked about on gas fittings. So here's a big pipe, a hub or bell reducer down to a smaller pipe to the furnace. Some furnaces need 3/4 pipe. Some can run off a 1/2 inch if there's enough. So here's all my old fittings in the back here. So we're down in a basement. Here's our window. And we have to have some sort of combustion air here somehow for the furnace, right? If it's gas.
Yes.
So we're going to look around and see if we can find it. Older cast iron, we'll skip that. This water heater, is it savable or do I need a new one?
New one.
Thank you. Okay, saddle T valves are no longer allowed by the code. Right here. See this saddle T valve? Those are those things that pierce a hole in the pipe. And the reason they said you can't be used is everyone's trying to put them on top of PEX piping. PEX cannot be pierced with a needle valve. So if any of you say, oh, I want to see that code, you go to the IRC and there's a section just on this type of saddle T valve. It's sort of weird they would write a whole section just on that. So if we take a look here, I'm getting electrolysis and leakage. Here you can see the pipe is starting to look like it's burned bad and lots of rust around the perimeter. In the back is my furnace. Here's my flue pipe coming up, and it's punched a hole either through the side and it's going up or through a chimney or something. But this thing back vented so long, it created oxidation up the copper pipe right here. See it? Don't worry, the gas fumes probably just made them sleepy a little bit. Okay. Harris, what's wrong with that pressure relief valve?
Well, that DPR has a piece of PVC in it, and it should have a piece of metal pipe. It could be galvanized to copper. And if it's outside, it has to end within 4 inches of the ground. It could be as high as 3 feet off the ground. But PVC is not allowed on a pressure or TPR valve because it'll melt. The valve won't trip till 210 degrees. The maximum of PVC is 180 degrees max.
Okay, so if I can't remember anything he just said, Harris, I read this yellow tag and it'll tell everything Harris just said how it's to be installed, everybody. Okay. Okay, this electric water heater, again, Harris is salivating.
Yes.
It's electrical. Go,
Yes.
Harris.
Well, first of all, you have a piece of Romex coming into a water heater, not protected properly. Secondly, all the splices are connected outside the junction box that's built into the water heater.
Harris, what size wire do I need to run to an electric water heater that's 4,500 watts?
Typically, it's a number 10 copper wire, and that would be rated at 30 amps, and it would be on a 2-pole 30 amp breaker.
Okay. And you say 2-pole, I don't understand. That's because it's 230 volts or 240 volts?
Right, 240 volts, 230 to 240 volts, and
I hear
AC.
Harris, I hear you using two different numbers. Which one is it?
Well, 230 is an approved number if you're back east on a Y type system.
I'm not. I'm in Arizona. Harris, I'm in Arizona right now, so I want to know.
Well,
what is it?
typically 240 here in Arizona.
Got you to say it. Thank you. Finally. Where do I know it's 240? Can I go out to the meter and look?
You can look at the meter and it'll say 240, or you can take your voltage meter and put it on the wires and check it.
Yeah, I'm pretty lazy, everybody. I just walk out to the meter and it'll tell me right on the meter. So some of you, your reports say 220 power because they were written by people who were copying some other old paperwork. So update your reports and say it's 230 or 240 power and stop saying it's 220.
Or call Harris. Call Harris if
Yes,
you
or
need
call
help.
Harris. That's it. Okay, so take a look at the back here. I have this. This is a dielectric nipple here. This thing that comes with the water heater. So this is called a dielectric, but they still didn't believe it. So they put a brass fitting in, a little bit better. It's leaking. I can see the oxidation. And then there's copper. Copper cannot touch iron. So I have to put brass or a dielectric union. Okay. This is lead. This one's back east. I just thought I'd put this.
Are you saying brass can touch metal?
Brass can go between copper and iron. This is brass.
It's still a dielectric connection.
Yeah. So that's good. It prevents electrolysis from occurring.
No, I'm saying electrolysis will occur between steel and brass.
Nope.
Really?
Yep.
Huh.
Yep. Just put it together, and if it happens, take a picture, send it to me. I'll send you a new part. Okay. So here's a piece of cast iron, and you can just see it's leaking all over the floor. I mean, I don't understand this, but either way, I go back east to teach a class, and they go, we're not going to write this up. I'm going, well, when you flush the toilet, water's running out of the pipe onto the floor. Would all of you write this up as replacement needed?
Definitely, yes.
Yeah, they don't want to say that. They say monitor it. Whatever.
Why do they do that?
Well, that's because they're not licensed yet. When they're licensed, they're going to be writing reports like we do, like you're scared.
Okay.
Like you're scared to death. Okay, here we go. This has old yellow brass. There's been a recall on old yellow brass for about 15 or 20 years. All of it comes now epoxy covered or stainless steel. So we write these up all day long. Harris, what's supposed to be right here?
That should have a valve right there.
A sediment trap.
Sediment trap and a valve.
Okay, now the valve has to be before the flex line, way back here. I can never have the valve on this side of the flex line, so it has to be back here somewhere. So
Well, I didn't see a valve back there.
so that's okay. So he puts a valve back here, then the flex line, then a sediment trap as close as possible to the water heater, and then the sediment trap sticks down at least 2 inches or more, whatever. And this is, again, it must be an older water heater because I have a door. There's no legs, so this could be vapor resistant, but I can't tell from here. Okay, so here's your drip leg, everybody. Is it called a sediment trap or a drip leg?
Sediment trap.
The sediment trap. A drip leg is where the gas is wet, back east somewhere or up north. Sediment trap is what we put here. It says 3-inch minimum. Now they don't care, but there's a cap at the bottom here to collect debris, and it always has to turn a right angle turn somehow so that it collects the debris at the bottom. Can somebody unscrew one of these and then take a video and show me that there's debris in there? I'd really like to know. It's one of those things like, how do we know the light on the refrigerator goes off when you shut the door? You know? Okay, I'm sorry. I ran into an asphalt roof with concrete tiles over it. Why? That's because they didn't want to remove the shingle roof. The problem is if you have concrete tiles weigh more than asphalt. So if your roof isn't designed for that weight, concrete or clay tile should not be installed anyway. So you have to prove that it'll support that weight.
Yeah, I was concerned about the weight.
Yes,
Thank you.
that's the issue. The rate is the weight. So if it's a truss roof, a 2x4, it can't hold any tile. It has to be a 2x6 upward cord. Okay, here we go. Is anybody, do all of you, is there anybody on the planet who doesn't write up polybutylene? Is there anybody who wants to fight about it and say, I don't want to write it up? Okay, I'm looking at the faces of everyone that goes, please, Brick, let's move on. Okay, so it's gray in color. This is called a manifold running down the middle. When I see this, I just stop. I don't have to go any farther. And then it's all stamped here on the side. So some of you say, I don't know what it is. Read it. It says it. It'll tell you the date. And then you just make a note of it. That's a full replacement. 35 to 65 to $8,000 to get this done. Okay. So there's some houses they say we're going to replace it on the day you make an offer. Okay.
Rick,
Yes.
Rick,
Yes.
I just did a manufactured home where they partially, when I was looking under the sinks and all, it was CPVC and PVC. So it looked like they had replaced the polybutylene.
Yeah.
But there was a small hole in the floor in one of the closets where I could see under the bathroom, and I could see that there was still a lot of polybutylene. So inspectors need to be careful because sometimes they do like a partial.
Yeah.
You can see.
Are you telling me they would lie about replacing all of it?
Well, they hadn't stated that it had been replaced. I just was, that's what I noted. That initially it looked like it had been until I looked further, and there was still a lot of polybutylene underneath the home.
Yeah. So what you write up is exactly that. I really appreciate that, Mary. Thank you, Marianne. When you write this up and it says it looks like it's been replaced, you need to say, we could not verify that it's all been replaced. That's what you need to say. So you got to protect yourselves because something's going to come back later and it'll haunt the hell out of you. Here's the P-trap. It must be a tub. Here's your waste overflow. It looks like it's copper. This is as old as the hills. I see copper piping here. Old. It's been leaking. Again, I see copper. I don't know how many of you have copper sewer line. And then some sort of vent coming down the wall back here. I'm not sure what all that mess is, but either way, it's leaking. Here's a P-trap. You look underneath there and you can see the deterioration. Are you going to write this up for replacement of a new trap?
Needs to be replaced.
Needs to be replaced. Here's your water supply line. So this is usually 1.25 inches. Why? I don't have a clue. They just make them 1.25 inches and you use a special nut for this. And this is 1.5 inches. And then back here, it used to be a cast iron fitting, a compression fitting. This is called an escutcheon plate, this round thing. is scutcheon plate. There's no valve here, or the handle's busted off. Which one do you want to say?
Both.
Yeah, so there's no handle here. So in this sink, this is old. This is supply line. I just put this on the internet, something like this. This is 7/16 supply line with a nut here. And in the past, the pressure would just blow this out and it would leak all over. But I think this was, I don't think there's a valve here, anybody. So I'm going to write that up all day long. Okay. Water meter loop. This is cold country, so it's not like it's here. Here are 2 water meters and copper piping. We'll skip that one. Okay, here we are into the bathroom area. The tile's loose already on the wall. Are you going to write this up for tile replacement and wall and hidden damage?
Yeah, and a water leak.
And a water leak. So water somehow is getting behind here. It's most likely leaking behind the escutcheon plate. Down behind here, it's probably leaking from around the spout. These spouts are the worst thing ever designed. If you turn it on and put your hand underneath it right here, this water runs right behind here and runs down there and runs behind the tile. It's just sort of crazy. This is a steel tub, I believe. Steel tub. And it has a lip all the way around, except in the corners sometimes it's open. But usually this has got a steel lip on it all the way around to the front. But green board was the primary product used in all the way up until the 90s. And finally, they want you to use Dura-Rock or some sort of cement board. So we turn on the shower, we turn on the tub, we check for leaks, and around this handle. This handle here, I take that thing and I wiggle it around, and it usually leaks right here, so it needs O-rings. Anybody fill these up to the overflow, or you just tell them, watch it when you fill it and see if it leaks? We fill these up and let them run, and then we look for leaks. Don't leave the room. And everyone, oh, why would you do that? It might leak. I know, but we're going to check it anyway. If we're on the second floor, we try not to check these ever, but we always tell the client we didn't check them. The first time you use them, you need to be really, really careful.
I just direct water to it from the faucet while it's running. I don't fill the tubs up, but I direct water inside just to see if there's a little bit of leaking later with thermal anywhere.
Yeah, I'll grab these, and if they're loose, I write them up right away. But you got to fill the tub up about 2 or 3 inches. Okay, here's how it should do. When you run the tub, the water coming out of the spout should go down the drain. Everything is designed for gallons per minute. So when I run the sink, all that water goes down the drain. When I run the tub, the same amount of water that comes out of the spout should go down the drain. They're designed that way. So if the water backs up, that means the drain has slowed down and isn't working properly. So the drain to a tub is 1.5 inches. The drain to a shower is bigger. And what is that size?
2 inch.
2 inch?
3 inch.
It's 2 inches on the drain minimum on a shower. And the reason is they want that water to disappear out of the pan immediately and continue on its merry way. So if you turn on the shower, and we're supposed to report on adequate flow, isn't that the wording? I can't remember what it is.
Functional flow.
Functional flow, functional drainage. Sorry. And we're supposed to report on that. And if it doesn't drain, then you write it up. Do I need a water heater? Okay, when I see something like this, I'm done. I don't have to spend a lot of time. Harris, again, your eyes are all aglow. Tell me what you got here.
Well, we have a piece of Romex, not protected properly, not terminated properly, exposed. Everything is wrong.
It's orange in color. What does that tell me?
It's a number 10.
Okay, so it's colorized. And then back here, I have this leak and this fitting. It's plastic and it's leaking. Could this like break apart and leak at any second?
It looks like it's been leaking.
It's been leaking. Thank you. Okay, here's a toilet, and it's got water running from the base of the toilet onto the floor when you flush it. There's the picture. Okay, and it's coming from under the toilet and running down here.
The wax seal is leaking.
Okay, so they're gonna have to pull the toilet.
You got some really crappy houses, Brick. I don't understand why you're not doing some stuff up here in Phoenix.
Yeah. I'd like to do some more modern stuff, please. Yeah, everybody says, don't you look at anything new? Well, if you want to look at new stuff, we can look at that all day long. I have to accumulate these. It takes almost a full week to find enough of these to put on.
I know. I understand.
Okay, so this is a mobile home. pre-manufactured houses. If I send you a referral of a pre-manufactured house, just say thank you, because I absolutely don't want to do these. But either way, it's CPVC and the fitting here is leaking, and this pipe is plastic. When I see these, I write these up immediately, and I say this needs to be replaced with a braided line with nuts at both ends. Okay, so the water has leaked into this thing and puddled in the corner right over here. See it? It's almost looks like it's the beach. It's making water run around here. Now this is a vent pipe, and it terminates. I don't know what this is, but either way, the vent pipe never terminated outside. It's like hidden in the wall. They always call and say, we have sewer smell. I don't know why you guys don't get these calls. What do? You send them to me on purpose because I made your day bad or something? Hey, call Brick. Okay, water TPR valve. Here's the valve. Now, there's a dial on the front of these things. You guys should probably look at those and see, guys and gals. You should look at the front of this dial. It'll say 212 or 210, and it'll say 150 PSI. And it should say that. But, they sell other valves. They sell one for 150 PSI. And so, 175, 200. So this orange label here tells you how long this pipe can be, this drain, and how many elbows can be on it. Harris, do you happen to know what that says?
Maximum 490-degree turns on any pipe run.
490 degrees. And I do new inspections, everybody, and I walk in and say, you got 5 elbows on there, and the builder goes nuts, just crazy. And I go, it says it right here on the label. If you don't,
I just did a new water heater inspection in a commercial building this morning that was actually 290 degrees max, and it was a 110 plug-in.
Cool. Well, a 45 degree doesn't count as an elbow, so you can put a lot of 45s on that.
Well, no, these were 90s.
Oh,
290s.
290s. Well, that's a problem. Makes it pretty tough. Okay, this is some sort of fitting. I just took a picture of it. You can see the primer running everywhere. It's open. Let's do it that way. This is open in the ceiling. So again, sewer gas, sewer smell. And here's your insulation. Okay, the gas meter has no ballard. Bollard? What's the word?
Bollard.
Bollard. Okay.
Bollard.
I'm not English, for God's sake. I don't know how to say it properly. Bollard. So I'm going to write that up, and then it's located way far from the house. So now I need a pressure test of any gas line over 20 years old from the meter to the house, buried in the ground.
What's a bollard?
It's a post, so they'll stop running into the meter. It's free. The gas company will put it in for free. The gas meter through the COIL program, COIL, K-O-Y-L, I think it's, or maybe it's C-O-Y-L, COIL program. They'll move the meter to the house for free. So you should check on that, and you don't have to check anything. You tell the buyer. And they can get that meter moved to the house for free. No permits are required. And that way, if the main is bad, they'll just move it for you. Again, 2 different materials with no green. Your best bet on that is a mechanical fastener between that, a no-hub coupling, and you're done. Cast iron rusted out. There's your no-hub mission band fitting. Some of you are going to go, I don't see any cast iron, so we'll move on. Okay, I've got a drain line for the washer hooked up to the sewer pipe. What's wrong with that?
It's on the wrong side of the P-trap.
It's on the wrong side of the P-trap. So I've connected my drain line for my dishwasher directly to the sewer. So that's why when you open up the washer, the dishwasher, you go, damn, that smells. Well, it's because you're hooked up right to the sewer pipe. Whew. Great balls of fire. Okay. This is a saddle T-valve. These things should be outlawed. It's hooking the RO system directly to the sewer. Well, it's not directly. There's still a P-trap somewhere. But these need to be in the arm facing upward so the dirty water from the sink can't come down that pipe. They have to be facing upward. What this is the This is the drain from the RO system when it dumps the water down the sewer. Okay, so if I have an RO system, some of the systems are a 4-to-1 rejection, 3-to-1 rejection. So if I get a quart of water, 3 quarts of water is going down the sewer to make that quart of water for me. Okay, is this polybutylene? Well, I'd have to get
Yes.
closer, but it sure looks like it. So I'll move on. Water heater's rusting out. This is old technology. You look in, there's a burner in the bottom of the water heater. Somebody sent me this and said, what do you think? Well, I don't know, get a new water heater. Okay, this is this flex line called Ameriflex vent. You cannot cut off the fittings on this, everybody. You can't cut that fitting off and cut this one off and make it work. This comes as an assembly, a unit. Harris, is this trapped?
It's got to only travel in an upward direction, at minimum a 1/4 inch to a foot.
Okay, he talks like all you home inspectors. I asked a simple question, is it trapped, yes or no? And he has to tell me the history of why metal pipe was made. Many of you just listen to your person. I have everybody trained. It's good or bad. And they go, well, that's bad, Brick. That's bad. Let's get that fixed. Okay, there we go. If you take a look here, the draft hood is loose. See the big gap here? It's laying outside. Here's copper hooked directly to the top of the nipple on the water heater. There's no dielectric there. Now, some areas require a flex line here. If I have plastic hooked up to here, and this is metal here, how many inches of metal do I need before I hook up a plastic line?
18 inches.
18 inches. So some PEX, sometimes PEX can be connected, but typically it's 18 inches for PEX. So that's why you need to have metallic flexible lines. So a lot of you don't realize the woven lines, they're poly and they're PEX wrapped with metal. So you need a stainless steel one here to make that work properly. Okay, here's your dielectric union. A joint has been, a bridge has been made that fits across this, so it's starting to rust out. And this isn't rust, it's oxidation, so bad. And then I look back here and I have an induction fan. You can see your fan is leaking right here. So this is like a side vent unit that's sitting in some room. Well, it's going to cost a lot of money. It's leaking. So are any of you looking at the top of water heaters and seeing this? And are you writing this up for replacement, or just say monitor until it sprays all over the room? What are you saying?
Replace.
Replace. Harris and I, man, we are just a wrecking crew. No one gets past us. So this is that flex line that's almost approved. Is there anybody that sees this not being approved for water supply? I don't see why it wouldn't. Okay, so this flexible line, so the way the gas code is written is your water heaters are required to have a flex pipe hooked to the top of them for, what's it called? When the ground shakes, what's that called?
Earthquake.
Earthquakes, thank you. And it moves back and forth. And so it used to be you had to have a hard pipe connection at the top and a hard pipe connection at the bottom. Well, that was the first thing to break. The water heater would snap off and gas would fly around and everything starts exploding. So this water heater looks like it's toast. So we'll move on. There's some leakage around, and the drain is missing. But look at this. Look right down here. Do you see the stain it's making on the side of the water heater? I don't know about you, but when I do an inspection and I say, this has been leaking a long time, it's making a rust stain here, they don't believe me. I don't understand. They go, well, this white calcium here, what is that? And then here's the stain where it's been dripping down against the side of the water heater. And it says TMP valve right there. There it is. Can we replace the valve? Sure you can. Okay, this is a piece of flex pipe hooked to the top of a water heater. Is that okay for a water heater?
Nope, looks like for a dryer.
Yeah, for a dryer, yeah. And that might be for a gas dryer. Okay, so take a look here. See the water line coming down that's braided? Okay, some of these, they're just PEX covered in fact, if you get it, read the label, and it'll say it's PEX covered in a braided stainless steel with a nut at each end. And then here's your gas line that's coming down. This might be a connector. I doubt this is CSST, everybody. This is called a connector, where it has 2 nuts at each end. Okay, here's my gas flue pipe. Is this lower at this side than this elbow?
Yes,
It is. Harris, can gas fumes flow downhill?
only uphill,
Only uphill.
quarter-inch to
Thank you. Only uphill. And then if we take a look here, this is single wall pipe. I thought I had to have type B pipe when it's exposed.
only when it goes through a attic or combustible.
Yeah, an attic or a thimble or some place where I can't see it per se. Okay. Okay, again, this one's out of focus. Somebody sent it to me. It's trapped. It comes down and back up. And some of you will write this up anyway. The inside diameter of this pipe is only 5/8. And I have to have what diameter of pipe coming off the TMP valve?
3/4 inch.
3/4. They make a 1-inch flex pipe that'll work for that, and you can use it. Harris, what is this clamp for?
That's called a bond connection,
And where's it bonded to?
bonded to the gas pipe.
And is this CSST here coming off the bottom?
That looks like CSST, yes.
Okay. What is that? Oh, you mean like this? This stuff here?
Yep,
Okay. And I don't understand what those letters you're telling me. What does that mean?
flexible gas pipe.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. So it's corrugated stainless steel tubing, everybody. CSST. I don't even know what ABS stands for, so I'll just let you know that. But corrugated stainless steel tubing. Okay, so this yellow outside cover here is so you can pull it. It has nothing to do with lightning. Now, these people who make this have a matrix of wire on the outside to prevent lightning from cascading down the pipe and blowing it out. They've had so many problems with lightning. So, but this is a manifold. So here's your manifold. And okay, see the outside ring here on the outside? I talked about gas fittings. It has to have that ring on the outside. That's when they make the fitting, malleable fittings. Okay. And then they put this together, and then this fitting tightens down around this, and there's no leaks. Here's your valves to shut it off. So is there anybody here who can't smell gas, natural gas, the rotten egg smell?
Looks like there's a lot of fittings on that one pipe.
Yeah, there's a lot of fittings there. So I always said, wow, that looks like a lot of fittings to me. But the 3/4 pipe, it's surprising. It's surprising how many BTUs of gas can flow through this thing. It's sort of crazy because when you have to replumb your house, they make you run a 1-inch pipe in, and then 3/4 pipe everywhere else, and then 1/2 inch off each fitting. But yet they let you run 3/4 CSST everywhere. I don't know. Okay, so here they're required to have some of these, whatever these things are called. These
Regulators.
regulators.
Yep,
Regulators. And here's a T installed. Is that T wrong?
Yes.
It's wrong. So the Indiana Jones runs down this pipe, he jumps it over, and he keeps going on. So that's how I tell people, if Indiana Jones can make it, it's wrong. He has to be able to run forward, hit the wall, and drop down into this. So that's wrong. Okay, so that's going to need to be fixed. This is a gas. This is gas. This is gas. So is this flex line okay for gas?
3, 4, it's got too many bends.
Yeah, it's got a lot of bends in it, first of all. So that's my first issue. And then I'm going to have to look at the box and see if this is rated for a gas dryer. Too many bends. Okay, is this white plastic vinyl okay for a gas water heater or gas dryer ever?
No.
No,
Okay, it's never.
It's not even recommended for an electric dryer.
Thank you. There we go. Whoever said that, you get extra credit. We're gonna put an extra mint on your pillow for being good. Okay, here's a gas line. I've got gas touching another piece of pipe, but they're probably both iron. I don't know that, but there's no support. Look at the gas line. It's not supported. What's the rule? Every 8 feet and every fitting.
every pipe has to be properly supported.
Every fitting. Okay, this is an element from an electric water heater with a blowout right here. a blowout right here. When that blows out, you're not going to have any hot water. Okay. It used to be the rule was that I had to go straight up for 1 foot before I turned on an angle based on the water heater people, but they've now, when I read the instructions, how they're supposed to be installed on the new units, they don't have this 1 foot rule. So I don't know what to say anymore, but there's no way you can make this water heater fit in this area because you can't lower it. The floor is below it. So here's my pressure relief valve. Here's an elbow. Here's one down, and off it goes. I always have to have a valve here pointing the direction of the pipe, and the pipe comes out of the wall. And I don't know if the piping in the wall is copper or what it is. I have to have a 1-inch gap, Y Harris, around type B vent.
Well, that's for safety for fire.
Does it say it on the pipe itself?
Does it right on the pipe?
Yeah, so I know all of you you read instructions very well. I thought about this one as I was coming down Oracle today, and I had 3 cars behind me, and the light was turning red, and I slammed my brakes on because I didn't want to be a lawbreaker, and I probably killed myself as they zoomed around me. And I'm going, oh man, who's going to get a ticket? Didn't happen. Okay, well, I blew this one up too big, but this has a trap in the middle of nowhere. Here's an elbow. Here's a Y. Here's a Y. But the main thing is you're running water and you're looking for leaks. Okay, this is your tub. It's rusted out. Is this going to need a new tub?
New tub.
Yes.
Yeah, the overflow is rusted out. I'm not going to fill this with water. Everyone thinks, hey, Brick is crazy. He'll fill this in. I'm not. It needs a new tub. The overflow is rusted out. This vent has come loose. And you see the burn mark on the wall right here? This fell over so long ago that the gas pipe has burned the wall in this room, wherever it was. Now, are any of you going to fix this, or are you going to notify them that it's bad and have someone else fix it?
Bad.
Yeah, I'm not going to fix this, anybody. I'm
calling the fire department.
Huh?
I'm calling the fire department.
Yeah, or whoever. I tell the agents if they're there, the homeowners there, and I just tell them that you've got an unsafe condition. And it's crazy how they argue with you. Either way, it's a killer. Don't fix it. I say you need to fix it. It's unsafe. You have to fix this. And but I'm not going to touch any of it. Okay. This is the bottom of a sink. Most of these sinks are gone today. Oh, here you go. Is this polybutylene pipe is a supply line? Yes. Needs to be replaced. See it right here? Okay, the bottom of the sink is rusted out right there. This is some sort of drain coming down, or maybe it's the water supply for whatever this thing is. I think this is the washer hookup. And they've used CPVC as your water supply. Here's your braided line to your water heater. We want to see that. Here's your P-trap. Here's your, okay. So this is a mana block. Mana block. This is where there's no valves anywhere except back at this thing inside the wall. And I write those up all the time. This might be Vanguard, which is a certain brand. Either way, I write up the mana block is needing to be inspected. They're not even made in the United States. They're made by our fellow Canadians. This is PEX. It comes in different colors. Blue for cold and red for hot.
Red for hot.
And in this case here, this is the memory product. It expands. Now you have rings and it has the plastic fittings. These all used to be made out of metal, and you get this zincification and all this other stuff everyone's whining about. So they've changed it. This is a shark bite fitting. I cannot believe these things. They came out about 15 years ago, and you couldn't use these things to save your life. Now suddenly they're approved by code. And it used to be these could not be hidden in a wall. So you can put them in a space where you can still see it, but you can't put them inside. You can't put them inside of a wall and then drywall over them. So the problem here is if I read this pipe here, this is polybutylene, and they've used this to splice something together. So it's bad. Here's your fitting, and here's your valve. And they've made a repair between 2 different pipes with this valve that's here for the water supply. Does anybody here inspect water softeners, or you just say we don't inspect them, take a picture and move on?
Move on.
Here is.
I actually look at water softeners. Most are dry brine. So if you look in the brine tank and there's water, especially above the salt,
Yep.
that's usually an indication of a problem, just so people know, just for some simple.
Oh.
I don't get too in depth, but I look for a few basic things like that.
Okay, yeah, I don't look at anything. In water tech, I know these people; they're nice, but I don't get involved. I say I don't inspect them. You need to get this inspected, and then I'm gone.
I like to check to make sure that there's no leaks at the equipment. That's it.
Yeah. You look around and make sure there's no leaks. And then there's a valve right here, so you can bypass this thing. Sometimes there's no valve. There's just these two plastic things at the top, and the problem with that is they're plastic. This is the approved method to make an air gap between the drain. So a lot of you don't realize there's got to be an air gap between the drain from the water softener and the sewer pipe. So when that drain is hooked up, there's an air gap there. So this water just drains down as it goes through a dump and dumps water. This might be a dielectric nipple. I don't know that to be the case on top of the water heater. If they come on the water heater when they're being installed, it's dielectric. Otherwise, I have a copper fitting attached directly to the top with a screw-in fitting. And you can see the hood here is installed properly, so this looks pretty new to me. Oh, so dielectric fitting is missing. So again, I would make a note that's not. This is the arm on the back of the toilet. It has an arm. These things are antiquated. And then this overflow fills the toilet up so there's water when you flush it. Okay, is this sanitary tee laying on its back?
Yes.
Yes.
It's wrong. Okay, and they're changing from cast iron to plastic. So we have to have a mechanical fitting because in some commercial applications, you can never use the green glue to seal that. And here's your hanger. So this looks like it's 1.5 inches or maybe 2 inches. I'd have to read it. But this is wrong. That fitting's wrong. So they're going to have to fix it. They don't like me anymore. Can I have 2 P-traps on a kitchen sink? Ever?
Never.
Never.
No.
So this one's okay. This one's not. Here's my high loop for my dishwasher, and it has to be before my trap. In the back, there's a saddle T valve. See it right back here? I'm writing those up so much everyone thinks I hate saddle T valves. Either way, they haven't been allowed for about 10 years, but boy, they sell these things at the store. They're the best. Okay, I like a lot of tape to fix things, and I think tape is the best. So there it is, and there's my. Well, these are old. Look at these pictures someone sent me. Okay, and here's polybutylene on this. Okay, but duct tape is a good product not to use. Okay, this is in an attic. Here, my sanitary tee is turned upside down because gas fumes flow up, and I'm allowed to hook multiple vents up to go through the attic and only have one. In fact, I only have to have one atmospheric vent to the outside. I could put in an air admittance valve over here and make all this work. Okay, I don't have to do any of that. Okay, this is my gas water heater, and it's a 1/2 inch pipe going this way. It's 1/2 inch pipe going this way. What's wrong with all these fittings? I can't run more than one appliance off a 1/2 inch fitting. Okay, so when I have multiple pipes like this, I have to stop. So here's a flex line. Is this line 3/8 or 1/2 inch?
Looks like 3/8.
It looks like 3/8. So already this is wrong because the BTUs that are allowed through that are so minuscule. So they came through here and they put a fitting on and they put a T in here to run this probably for a gas dryer. The valve is off, but the end here has a piece of tape wrapped around it inside where the water heater is. So I wrote that up in 2 seconds. Here's your valve. Here's your flex line. I don't have a sediment trap. Wrong. This water heater is old. We'll look at the date. We always write down the date so we can figure out what it is. Okay. I want to thank everybody for attending this. You probably thought this would never end, or you can't believe 2 hours went by so quickly. It's your choice. Does anyone have any questions?
I have a question for either one of you guys. I don't know if I asked you this before, but
electrical panels, the dedicated circuit going to the fused outlet for a furnace is sometimes labeled SRU. What do those letters stand for?
Eric, you
Nobody,
take this one.
nobody knows what they stand for, but actually it's a fuse protection for your furnace. And because Underwriters Laboratory tested the furnace with a fuse, they have to have a fuse before the furnace to protect the furnace for it to be UL approved installed.
Right, but so
SRU
nobody's any idea what SRU stands for? Because I've asked many people and nobody has any clue.
Yeah, we don't know what it stands for.
It's a single use receptacle.
That's what it stands for, single-use receptacle. SRU.
SRU, single use receptacle.
Single receptacle use?
Yes.
Single use receptacle. In
It's-
that
The
order.
letters switched around.
Yeah, but it says SRU or SUR. But when you go to order it, that's how you order it, with that number. Any other questions? Good question, though. Thank you, Alex. Okay, this recording will be ready for upload in a couple days. I want to thank everyone for attending. We went over about 9 minutes, but I wanted to finish these last couple. And we'll see everybody in a couple weeks. And you have to send some emails about what classes you'd like to have. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, Rick. Thanks, Harris.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, guys. Talk to you later.
Thank you now.
Thanks for joining us.
You guys have been the best we've had all day.